So we've just finished day 2 of 9 at the 2023 World Champs in Budapest, and we've already seen absolutely nuts results coming from the men's 100 meter, where a lot of predictions were turned on their head. So let's just get into it. Here are my winners and losers of the men's 100 meter at the 2023 World Champs. I mean, come on. Unsurprisingly, we have to start with Noah Lyles. He took gold, no shit. But more than that, he backed up all the talk. He'd spent a lot of the season losing 100 meter races, running good times for him, but in no way did he look in shape to take gold here. Yet he remained as confident as ever, backing himself. He brought the idea of outrageous times and breaking world records into the conversation. And yeah, he didn't run 9.65, and we haven't seen his 200 meter yet. But he cleaned up his start, and the back end of his race was just classic Noah Lyles. No one was beating him in the last 50. It was a gold that not many people were predicting. More importantly, with his start looking this good, he really could be challenging Bolt's 200 meter record. All he needs is a sub 10 in the first 100 and to run the final straight how he normally does. The foundations are actually there. Now it's whether he can execute it. And whether it be at this World Champs or in the near future, it could actually happen. Then of course, there's the other two medal winners, Tebogo and Hughes with silver and bronze. Again, another two obvious picks, I'll get them done quick. But for athletes who are 8 years apart in age, they're in very similar situations. Both had fantastic breakout seasons, cementing themselves as favourites at this World Champs, and were able to pull through under all the pressure. Great showings from both of them, and we're also going to see them both featured in a historically fast 200 meter field this week. With them two, I also have to mention Seville. He ran the same time as Hughes and Tebogo, 9.88, but he took 4th. He's young and showing consistency at major champs. Yes, consistency is 4th place at back-to-back worlds, and that stings, but he's building confidence and experience that'll serve him in future champs, as well as the old chip on your shoulder mentality. These next two winners are the real controversial picks, and the ones I really wanted to talk about. Christian Coleman and Lamont Marcel Jacobs. I reckon they came out as real winners here. And Coleman especially. He ran a time that could have netted him bronze. It was just done in the semis. We've also seen him struggling to return to that 2019 form he was once in. But this was top form. Not many people noticed, but the heats and semis, he blasted off in his start like his usual Coleman fashion. But in the finals, not so much. And it comes down to the minute details. If you go back to the first 3 steps of his race, he stumbled and still managed to keep himself in contention. That's 2019 Coleman right there. We could be living in a Coleman world right now. But this slight trip meant he started with everyone else instead of ahead of everyone else. He still ran a 9.92 and finishes in 5th. Unreal form. We can expect some supreme stuff from him in the future. And then lastly, Jacobs. He's been off ever since his 60 meter indoor world champs gold. There was injury, confidence issues, backing out from races. He hasn't actually ran that fast since. So he came into this meet with a season best of 10.21 and left with a 10.05 and a 12th overall finish. He clearly wasn't in top form, still came out and competed really well. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a step in the right direction, and it's what we want to see from an Olympic champ, regaining some form and confidence heading into an Olympic year. Then we have our losers. The obvious number one is Fred Curley, not even qualifying for the final and running his only time above 10 seconds this year. He was undoubtedly a beast early this season. He opened the season with a 9.88, top form, brimming with confidence, and he literally just got slower as we got closer to the champs. He even ran faster in the heats than in the semis. And it happens, you know. And he even stated, "I fucked up." As a hot favourite, you do expect more. It'll be interesting to see if he can figure out what went wrong and pick it back up to qualify for the Olympics next year. In a close second of being the biggest loser, it would be Omanyala, with a 10.07 coming 7th in the finals. Firstly, there is props to be given. He did make it to the final, and he wasn't the hot favourite. But bloody hell, his form this year was looking better than ever. He ran 9 sub 10 second races before the World Champs, 3 of those legally being within the 9.8s. Public consensus was he was going to medal, and even threaten the title. But again, time and time again, we see him struggle at majors. It's becoming a reoccurring pattern that he could be the fastest in the world when he's on. But when the spotlight's actually on him, he kinda bombs out. Then lastly, we have unfortunate Simbine. His first false start in his entire running career.
That's my first false start since I've started running. So
he's an athlete very similar to Omanyala, A world beater on the right day, but struggles when the big lights are on. But we didn't even really get to see that this time. His form was actually looking good, he did good in the heats, and then he gets DQ'd in the semis to a really close false start. Being an Omanyala and Simbine fan has been really rough. And that's my winners and losers breakdown for the men's 100 meter. Comment who you'd have on your list down below. See you next time.